Once you see how easy it is to make pesto at home, you will never go back to the jarred stuff. Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel and the You Wanna Bite Kitchen. I was thinking about this recently. I don't know if I'm just speaking from personal experience or if you guys feel the same way, but I feel like pesto does not get enough love. When I'm having pasta at home, I'm either having a red sauce or a meat sauce or something cheesy, but I'm rarely having pesto. Pesto deserves the love and attention and respect of any other pasta sauce. It's actually so easy to make, and my boyfriend's basil plant was kind of dying. So I wanted to try and use up some of the leaves before it went completely bad. So I have some garden fresh basil. The ingredients list for this is really short. So what you're going to need is fresh basil, extra virgin olive oil, garlic, pine nuts, Parmesan and Pecorino cheese, a lemon, salt and pepper, pasta, and burrata if you want. Let's first start out with the pesto recipe. Start off by rinsing your basil leaves and patting them dry. You're going to need 2 cups of basil, and I packed them in just a bit, not super tightly. You might notice that some of my leaves are a little bit brown, but they're totally fine. That's just from being in the fridge. Transfer the basil to a food processor and add in 2 tablespoons of pine nuts. If you need a substitute, you can use walnuts here instead. Then roughly chop some garlic. 2 normal sized cloves would be perfect, but since mine were super small, I used 4 cloves. Add the garlic to the food processor and top that with a ½ cup of Parmesan and Pecorino Romano, but I have a feeling that just one of them would work fine. Lastly, add a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt and give everything a pulse in the food processor. It's not going to blend up too much this time, but it does compact things a little bit so that you can add in the oil a little bit easier. Slowly start to add in a ½ cup of extra virgin olive oil. If you have one of the food processors with the hole in the top, you can just stream the oil in as everything is blending, but mine doesn't have that, so I just added a little bit at a time, taking the top on and off to add a little bit at a time until the whole ½ cup was added in. Once all the oil is added and everything is blended together, give it a taste. I added a little bit of black pepper and a small squeeze of lemon, probably less than a tablespoon. Give it one last blend to combine everything, and then your pesto is done. You can keep this covered in the fridge for a few days to use on practically anything, but I'm going to be putting it on pasta today. This recipe makes about 3/4 of a cup of pesto, which is enough for about a pound of pasta. I took a piece of Italian bread and I wiped out the whole food processor and just ate it because duh, like I wasn't gonna let that go to waste. Now that your pesto is done, you can choose to eat it or use it however you want. It's perfect on sandwiches and of course on pasta, which is how I'm going to be eating it today. I just boiled the pasta in some very salty water, drained it, and then tossed it back in the same pot with the pesto. Any type of pasta will work, but I think rotini is the perfect shape for holding all the pesto sauce. You can plate this up and eat it as is, but I know we've already established I like to be extra, so I'm going to go one step further and top this bowl off with a ball of burrata and some red pepper flakes. You totally don't have to add the burrata, but I was inspired by a very popular New York City restaurant called Parm, and this was one of their specials recently that's no longer on the menu, and you can never go wrong with burrata, like ever, right? But before the taste test, let's take a closer look at how everything came out. And now time for the best part of the day, the only time that matters. Is it good? I would not steer you wrong. I wouldn't, and I never eat with a spoon, but I do not want to let any of it go to waste. If you have a basil plant and you have not made pesto, first of all, what else are you doing with the basil? I'm curious, tell me. Second, please make it because it's delicious. And honestly, I think burrata makes the perfect pair with pesto because it kind of mellows it out and adds a really delicious creamy element. If you prefer long pasta like spaghetti or something, that would be totally fine. That was so rude. Really? Was that the last one? I don't know if you can hear it, but I just had a whole conversation with the train, so. That is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos, and leave a comment letting me know if you want a bite of this pesto. I know I said burrata was optional, but if you know what's good for you, you'll do it. Also, that was not a threat, just friendly foodie advice.